Welcome, movers and shakers. I am your host and realtor, Janitha N. Moore. Today, joining us is real estate investor Harry Manning. Welcome, Harry.
Hello.
Tell us about yourself and how you got into real estate investing.
I've been in real estate investing about 20 years. Back in the year of 2000, I moved to Atlanta. And I think by mistake, back in Washington, D.C., I gathered interest in real estate just based on buying my primary home and it increasing in value so rapidly and so fast. I just happened to have the right home in a area that exploded. So I gathered interest and came to Atlanta, and Atlanta happened to be DC all over again in the 2000s. So a lot of wealthy people are generated from real estate, so I started getting into real estate investing.
How long did it take you to determine your strategy? Were you most interested in building wealth or just getting cash quickly?
Me personally, I've always taken the long-term approach to real estate, meaning that there's annual salary that I would like to obtain, but there's also positioning that I would like to always put in place annually as well. So I'm not as concerned about how much I make every single year. I'm more concerned about how much I'm going to make residually when I get to a space where I don't want to really work anymore.
Mm-hmm. And so, briefly, because this will probably require more time than we have today, can you briefly explain the different approaches, one being the quick cash approach to building wealth approach, or otherwise known as wholesale, flipping, tenants, and lease options?
Well, to really be in real estate and to sustain financial freedom and financial gain, you have to have 4 to 5 strategies. We have people in real estate today that call themselves wholesalers that won't survive when the market transitions. So you have to have 4 to 5 different strategies, and you have to change your strategy based on market. You also have to change your acquisition strategy based on the climate. So there's strategies you can use in Atlanta for investing, and you can't use them in, say, a Cleveland, Ohio. So rental return in the Midwest is going to be a lot better, but the profit margin is going to be much, much better in a market like Atlanta. So, strategies have to change. Me personally, I'm not one of anything. I'm a real estate investor. I'm a real estate person. So I have to move with the times and change strategy with the times. And so I wouldn't call myself a quote-unquote flipper, wholesaler, and all these other different things. I'm a real estate investor.
Mm-hmm. And so how does real estate investing work? Can you flip a house with no money?
The new person is gonna have a hard time flipping a house with no money. That's the bottom line truth. But someone who's experienced, yes, because when you're experienced, you have financial relationships that you can access that, based on your experience, you can almost get financed and things of that nature for acquisition and rehab. So it's possible, but someone who's new walking into real estate thinking that they're going to get acquisition costs, rehab costs, no money down, it's almost impossible. And that's just the truth. I mean, people say that, but the real truth is, it's going to be very, very hard if you're not experienced to do that.
So some of the benefits to investing equals cash flow and financial freedom. Can you name a couple other ones that I didn't just mention?
I mean, we have to just ask ourselves, what's the ultimate goal? Is the ultimate goal to make money right now, or the ultimate goal is to have generational wealth, or the ultimate goal is to have a residual income, or the ultimate goal is to make $1 million? Like, you just have to have your strategies and your goals in place. My personal goal is generational wealth. You know, the same thing that you're speaking about, I want to be able to have the ability to sit down with my children and my grandchildren and maybe finance an opportunity for them if they had something in mind, or teach them, economics 101 through real estate. So, I think ultimately you just have to find out what your goal is. But, I guess this sounds crazy, but I take the marathon approach to real estate. I'm not as concerned about what I can do right now as much as I'm concerned about my grandchildren being able to go to college and my great-grandchildren being able to live off of the things that I've put in place today.
So you're not just taking on any deal. You're trying to find a deal that makes sense over time, most times, or it just depends?
Well, you can probably catch me. The average person would say I don't pay a lot for my deals. Like the average person who's out here selling stuff, if I was to buy from them, my offers would be based on what I believe. My offers is never based on what you say. Mm-hmm. It's never based on anything that you throw. There's no need to sell to me because I'm not listening to it anyway. Mm-hmm. You don't need to sell me a property. I'm gonna do my numbers based on me, based on area. If it's rental, I need to know that, a lot of people don't consider public transportation. That's important to me if I'm buying rentals. People don't consider Section 8 vouchers. How many vouchers is in East Point versus Atlanta? There's going to be 3 to 4 times more in Atlanta. So the market is going, if you're speaking about rental property. So, there's different things that I consider when I'm purchasing. And there is an annual income, and then there is a residual income. Both of those strategies are put in place all year. So I might buy something just based on the fact that residually it's going to take care of me later. Mm-hmm. Or I might buy something based on the fact that I'm going to sell this when it's finished. Or I might buy something based on the fact that it's in an area that's going to blow up. Mm-hmm. And I want to be in that area when it happens. So right now it's just rental property, but I know what's going on later.
So when you're analyzing a deal, what's important may vary, because I know sometimes people want to focus on repair costs, selling costs, how long it'll take, the carrying cost, the after repair value, and things like that. So is there ever a time that something is consistently the important thing outside of your return on your investment?
Those are the people who buy houses. You have to always, acquisition is important, repair costs is important, holding costs is important, and agent fees are important. And when people don't put all 4 of those aspects into the deal, you're not doing it correctly. You're not analyzing the deal properly, because if you're getting financed and you're not considering what your money cost, then it's going to bite you later on. It's something as little as right now buying a house, going into November, and the winter's coming. So if you finish a house in November, December, January, if you're not experienced, you won't assume that as soon as I finish it's going to sell. Well, the market's not bustling as much in December and January as it is in June, July, and August. So without experience, you wouldn't really understand that. But me, I understand that, I might sit on market a little bit longer if I'm doing a deal and I'm finishing in the wintertime. So there's a lot of different things that you have to consider. But the main things, if you're actually doing acquisition to sell for a profit, is acquisition costs you can fix everything else with acquisition costs, though. So if you get it low enough, those other things really won't be a major factor. So your acquisition cost is the most important thing, and then repairs, and then your holding costs, and then your agent fees. A lot of people do deals and they don't realize you have to pay an agent to list this. That's very important. That's a part of your cost. And your profit margin is going to be lower and lower and lower and lower based on all those numbers. So acquisition, if you buy it at the right price, all those other things will fall into place.
So for the audience, can you give us an example? Run the numbers down. You bought it at this. You have to consider this number, this number, this number, line by line.
Let's do a basic. These days in Atlanta, 200,000 is a magic number. So if you buy a house and you're going to buy it and finish it at $200,000, meaning that house, you want that home to sell in the high mid twos.
It needed some repairs.
Right. Well, your acquisition cost traditionally, and excuse me, because my numbers are going to probably be lower than some.
Okay.
But experienced people, their acquisition number are going to be lower because they realize, all the risk is yours.
Okay.
And then a wholesaler is going to say, all you got to do is this. All you got to do is get your check and walk away, though. So the risk is not yours. Okay. You have to understand that when we open this house up, everything that happens or does not happen is my responsibility.
Okay.
So if I don't leave room for error, then my profit margin could be actually gone.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So let's just use a basic $200,000 rule. So if we're buying a house and we want to finish, meaning finish all our work at $200,000, we're going to buy it for $125. Let's just say $125. That's probably a decent number, and it's something that will appraise in the high mid twos. So at $200,000, that means we're borrowing $200,000. Traditional numbers are going to be 3%. So $200,000 plus 3 points, that's going to get us at 206, correct?
Okay.
We're going to hold that property for 4 to 5 months, repairing it, putting it on the market, and selling. Let's say 4 to 5 months. So let's say we have $10,000 in holding costs, correct?
Okay.
$2,000 each month for 5 months. That's going to cost us $10,000.
Okay.
So we got $10,000 plus $6,000. We're at $16,000, correct?
Expense.
That's our holding costs.
Okay.
$16,000. For that same house, we're going to have a real estate agent, and we want our real estate agent to list that house. We have to pay fees. Let's just do a round number of $250.
Okay.
So if we have a real estate agent and $250 is the selling cost, we're going to pay 6%, which is going to be 6% of $250,000. That's going to be $15,000. Is that correct?
Roundabout, approximately.
Okay. All right. So we got $16,000 in holding costs. We got $15,000 in fees, right? So we got $230,000, right? Those are things that everybody's not considering.
Okay.
Because remember, we bought it at $125. They gave us $75,000 to fix it. We finished at $200,000. And then we have to worry about our fees. Our fees are $30,000, give or take. So we're at $230 now. Remember, we're trying to sell in the mid-high twos.
Yeah.
So that's a good general rule to consider. But a lot of people are they just look at acquisition, they look at repairs. But if you don't take that holding cost, that money cost, and you don't take that real estate agent fees, and make sure you could assume that $30,000 was yours. It's not.
It's not.
It's not. So you have to. Because you might think I'm gonna make $50,000, I'm gonna make $65,000. No, that's that $30,000. You have to put that into your equation. But that has to go into the equation when you're purchasing it's too many people that don't put those numbers into the equation when they're purchasing. And that's a lot of time a homeowner will say, well, you know, if you buy it at 125 and they selling at 265, you're killing me. No, because for my house to look like that house across the street, I have to spend $75,000, and I have fees associated with it. So that's how it kind of
and
works out.
that's how it become a true comparable, right?
Sure.
By bringing it to the standard of the house in the neighborhood or in the area.
You have to. You can assume you could go slap some paint around, and you can assume that you're going to get that amount when the quality of work is not consistent with that product, and your house will sit there, and then that holding cost will become 5, 10, 50, you know, it'll go up and up and up, and every single month you're paying $2,000 on that holding cost because the product's not moving. So, you know, if you are trying to cut corners and your product is not consistent, yeah, you're going to have those problems.
So you not only know your numbers, but you also know your competition.
You know, I don't want to, you know, but I've been around for a while. And I've done new builds, fix and flip, wholesale, notes, taxes, assignments, of course. But I've done it all, you know. That's why I say I'm a real estate investor.
Yeah.
Everything has to make number sense. It's not I don't buy anything based on anything else but numbers.
So let's be real transparent and honest, as you always are. But a lot of investors feel like they don't need a realtor. We've done a couple deals together.
Right.
But a lot of times, because you have so much experience and you've done so many different deals, and a lot of times things can be done off market, a lot of investors don't need a realtor. But I think you had a huge advantage using a realtor, just from the marketing standpoint, just from the by entering your property into the multiple listing service, it threw a larger net out. Tell me how you feel about using a realtor. I think we did well together, and it was a benefit from working together. But
yeah, I think you know, I think using a realtor is a good thing, because I think, you know, once again, you are right. You know, you have an opportunity to put your product in front of a lot of people, a lot of people, and not just investors. You have the opportunity to put your product in front of new investors. You have the opportunity to put your product in front of investment groups. You have the opportunity to put your product in front of experienced people. So I think that, you know, it is a good thing. It's not as traditional as a lot of real estate agents, because like a lot of real estate agents, they're not really used to dealing with a product that's not pristine, you know. But some products are going to sell as is, and I guess, quote unquote, a little ugly. Needs work. But, you know, as an investor, I want to sell it like that sometimes, meaning it needs work or it's ugly, because my acquisition was where I wanted it to be, and I can move it in its current state. So I think it's a good thing. You know, I don't necessarily knock anybody for their tactics or anything, but I think we've had good experience, and we've done well together. So, you know, everybody has their strategies, everybody has their tactics. The amount of money I think that you will gain dealing with a real estate agent, the fees, they'll cover themselves. You'll probably get a little bit more, so it'll cover the fees that you think you won't get.
So you talk a lot about generational wealth and building wealth and real estate. You've been pretty successful personally in your transactions with real estate. Are you concerned that we are not taking advantage of the opportunities that's before us? Or do you feel we're educated enough with real estate investing? How can somebody change their life with real estate investing? Is it real opportunity, or is it more hard work than money?
So I don't teach any classes. I don't do forums. It's probably just me being kind of consistent with who I am, but I do try and share my experience. When asked, it's like when I'm asked, I try to share my experience. But the single most important thing that you could possibly do is just own your own home. I mean, it's hard for me to consider somebody a real estate investor or just someone who speaks about obtaining wealth or speaks about having some generational wealth, or just when you don't want to purchase your primary home. I mean, that's the easiest way to gain some financial leverage. Now, not the wrong home in the wrong area, don't get me wrong. Following suit on just what's big and pretty versus the right product. So even when I purchased my primary home, it was more about return going in. So I'm not as concerned. I want everybody to be happy, but we're going to be happy within reason, because if it's a product that I'm going to buy that I'm not going to make a bunch of money off of, or at least have a bunch of equity that I have some financial leverage to move around with 5 to 10 years later, it's not for me. I don't buy houses for closets, especially a primary home. You don't want to do that. You want to think about we want to think about selling it as you're buying it, to me.
I definitely agree with you.
So, the most important thing that I would say, when I'm speaking to people, and I speak to a lot of different people in the community, because I coach and I deal with young men a lot. That's kind of one of my things, is just to spend time and be around young men and just try to influence them. But Economics 101 is very important to me too. So I ride around with them and just speak to them and talk and allow them to speak and just try to drop jewels on them and make them understand. One thing that was very powerful that Tyler Perry said recently is own your stuff. So the importance of owning your own primary home, I think, is like step one to wealth.
And you say that a good strategy is to always start with the question, will this sell? And will this give me a return on my investment when it comes time to sell that investment?
Yes, as well as equity. I mean, you may not ever sell, but don't you want to have a home where you have $200,000-$300,000 worth of leverage sitting in that home at all times? So say your baby want to go to college, or say your baby wants to start a business, or your grandchildren, or it's time for someone to get married, your child to get married, or, those types of things. We're running a race, and, some people are starting on the 50, and some people starting in the starting blocks. We're running a 100-yard dash. I mean, it's hard to win when you're in the starting blocks and somebody's starting at the 50. But they're starting at the 50 because somebody made some financial decisions that was able to put them in that space. And then some other people didn't. And generationally, we're starting over in the blocks, over in the blocks, over in the blocks, over in the blocks. And, I just want to try and make sure that I'm doing my part.
Equity is leverage. Equity is leverage.
Equity is definitely leverage, without a doubt. Something as small as a line of credit with the equity of your home is definitely leverage.
And the best investment is to always start with your own investment, meaning your home.
For the novice, of course. For someone who's not into real estate, of course, the best, easiest, and fast start is to start with your own home. Credit, of course, is very important as well.
Yeah, and then they can get to investing in different products like yourself.
Right. Mm-hmm. If you don't want to be a real estate investor, it's important to own your home.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you want to stay at your job for the rest of your life, it's important for you to own your own home. Period. In the right area, of course.
Well, I thank you for your time. Is there anything else you would like the audience to know about in terms of investing and real estate?
No. I would just say nothing happens overnight, and the microwave approach does not work. And, understand the business, understand it takes time, understand that, the long-term approach is ultimately what's going to gain true wealth. I mean, you're going to make some money with some of the other approaches, but the long-term approach is just true wealth. And true wealth cannot be taken away from you.
Thank you, Harry Manning. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.